Welcome to Two Psychics. This is Michael Edley, Evidential medium and mystic, discussing all things spiritual.
Hello, I'm Mary Amy of Two Psychics, an intuitive wisdom coach, tapping into your mystical life and sharing messages I receive about you. Tapping into your mystical life and sharing messages I receive about you.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is Michael Edley here, the one half of Two Psychics, here with my other half, Mary Amy. What's going on, Mary Amy? How are you tonight?
Hi, welcome to Two Psychics, episode 62. And so funny, the last time I wore a scarf, you did too. So
I know, and yours is blue and purple. Mine's blue. See, we're psychically connected.
Telepathically, we've had conversations today, so we're reading each other's mind. Tonight, it's August 12th. It's all about angels, and we have a wonderful guest tonight, master tarot card reader and oracle deck creator and host of the Angel channel. And his name is Bryan Lahr, and he's coming from Florida. So we're going to present him. First, we're going to talk about angels, and we're also going to hear about what's going on with you and what's going on with me, and we'll bring him on in a little bit. How are you? What's new on the Jersey Shore?
On the Jersey Shore, we've had some very nice weather after we had a lot of rain and all that good stuff. So I've been able to, get out to the beach. I've been able to sit under the full moon. I've been able to meditate, kind of get into my Zen state of mind, which has been a good thing, kind of get back to nature, unwind. I did, there's a really beautiful state park by us, Lahr State Park. I was able to spend some time out there. Anyone that follows my page, I was posting some pictures out in the wilderness and, just surrounded by wildlife. And it's a great grounding experience, just helps kind of rebalance and reset the chakra system, cleanse the auric field in nature, and then combining that with time at the beach. It's been good. I like it. I like when I can get back to my sacred space, and really kind of get back to my meditation practice. And it's weird, I find myself, I go through these cycles and I start waking up at, 3 a.m. And what happens is sometimes I'll go back to sleep and sometimes I'll actively try to go, okay, why am I getting up? Why am I divinely being guided to start to channel something, to key into something, to meditate? And I took it as yes, for some reason I'm waking up at 3 a.m. They say that's that's a sacred time, very peaceful. And what I found myself doing is kind of going outside and meditating under the moonlight, under the stars. And I've had some very prophetic stuff coming to me, a lot of guidance that I felt I needed, moving forward in this new energy cycle. So that's one thing I would tell anybody out there is, even if you're not waking up at 3 a.m. and going to be able to go sit out under the moonlight, I'm fortunate. I don't have anybody that other, my wife, and she sleeps pretty soundly. So I'm not worried about waking anybody up or, making a lot of noise. I could do it pretty quietly, but I think everyone should try to incorporate into their, if not daily, at least weekly routine of getting back to something you love to do and something that grounds and reinvigorates your energy. And for me, that's one of two things: getting back into nature, meditating in that what I consider that sacred space of nature. And then also I'm starting to dabble and start to create more new music, and I'm incorporating different instruments. And anyone that heard my first album, Divine Journey of a Mystic Soul, a lot of synthesizers and a lot of airy celestial sounds. And I'm kind of going in a different direction with this one. I'm still incorporating hemisync and binaural tones and binaural beats, but I'm going to be incorporating like woodwinds, stringed instruments. I'm going to actually have percussion incorporated into this one, where the other one was really an album to get practitioners and people that are having a hard time meditating to kind of get into that flow state of the hemisync. And I mean, anyone that isn't familiar with hemisync, it's utilizing sound and frequency to align the dual hemispheres of the brain, the right and left hemisphere, into like this beautiful cohesion. And it opens up a new divine realm of thought patterns, of creativity. And you can harness a lot when you start to incorporate that. And especially people that tend to be in their head a lot and they can't quiet down the noise, the outside noise. Hemisync has a tendency to get you in that zone very quick. And as long as you have it on and you're playing it, it'll keep you in that zone. And really prophetic stuff can come to you if you're trying to navigate a problem and you're having a hard time finding solutions. In that space, a lot of times that will connect you to that, what I say, that divine source energy, that God energy, and it just allows that hemisync cohesion to happen, and it puts you in a different place. And a lot of people, if you're not sure what that is, we're combining. So left hemisphere, when they're saying the analytical, the processes, the procedures, the right brain, the creative, the artistic. But see, with the right brain, a lot of times I'm telling people to kind of get out of the right brain a little bit, even if you're creative and if you're having a hard time connecting to your psychic abilities, your mediumship, because the right brain is your emotional center. And one thing that can block us from our psychic abilities, our intuition, is when we're emotionally attached to something, and those emotions can cloud the psychic energy and can cloud the intuitive guidance. So sometimes we have to remove ourselves from that emotional space, that emotional segment of the brain, to try to find more balance and try to find the true source information that's being downloaded to us. So I think Hemisync is the perfect opportunity to balance left and right hemisphere and find that sweet spot. So not to make it a long story, but yes, music and grounding and getting back to nature have been the two things that are really invigorating my energy right now.
We are both so creative. I have been doing a lot of time in nature as well. I've been waking up, if I don't sleep 9.5 hours, I haven't slept enough now. So over the weekend, I slept between 9.5 and 10.5 hours. And then the next night, I didn't sleep at all. So it's very up and down. But I've been waking up no matter how much sleep I have. And I've been taking a long walk by the water and in the morning and then later in the day. And I have been channeling a lot of my inspiration now. It feels like I'm unblocked and I have alignment. And because we spoke today, that we've now planned after last week, if anyone watched us, we were on Edge Magazine, The Curious Show with Kelly Wagner. And we have realized that there's a platform that we can be live. So cross your fingers, starting next week, you're going to be able to watch us live on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And then we're also going to have a podcast that we've been having on Spotify and iTunes and all of those, Amazon, but we're going to do live and we're going to have guests. We have a new guest next week. And so we have that. And we also have an upcoming event that we're doing in Pelham together, Michael and I. So this is
we'll fill everybody in on that later on. But it's going to be good. It's going to be good. We're going to keep it secret. We can't let everything out right now.
Okay. All right. So I'll hold off on sharing that. But we have some really cool upcoming events that we're doing together, and we're going to be videotaping. So it's going to be really, really exciting.
And you will be able to call in and get readings. We'll be able to start doing live readings or take your questions and intuitively key into those things and hopefully help people navigate again. That's the one thing I miss about what we were doing early on. We had so many people starting to tune into the show, and it was just so exciting having all the call. We would be 18, 20 people deep trying to call in for a reading, and it just, I love that energy. I love the energy of doing it live. It's really cool. Not that we're doing this live, but we're recording it and putting it out, but actually being able to have everyone join us live while we're doing it, I think it makes it really special.
And you'll be able to write in the chat, and then we can even give you through the chat, or you can say, hey, can I join the podcast if we have space during the show, or you can reach out to me. It's going to be really, really exciting. So if you looked at our Facebook page for Two Psychics podcast, I will be putting information on there about next week. By the end of the weekend, I'll be all set up there. Now, tomorrow night, so that means after I put this up, we're going to have another guest, and she's a Palladian channel, and she's coming from Ireland. So this week we have two guests. It's pretty exciting. Okay, now I just want to share with you our topic tonight is angels, because I know Bryan's going to be coming on and we're going to have to put him in the waiting room. All right, so what are angels? It's kind of a specialty for me, because I always speak about having my near-death experience and angels came to me. And I'm going to give you a little blessing, angel blessing. Angels all around us, angels beside us, angels within us. Angels are watching over you when times are good or stressed. Their angel wings wrap around you, whispering you are loved and blessed. So what are angels exactly? Well, we can say, based on what we see in the physical reality, and this is up for interpretation, angels can be specks of light, they can have halos and beautiful wingspans, but they are benevolent spiritual beings that come from the heavens, and they are guided by divine energies, and if you believe in God, and they are non-gender, and they are most definitely messengers, warriors. They're protectors for humans. They say each of us have two guardian angels with us from birth. In fact, today, when I was walking back from the boardwalk, I had heard from Michael this morning how to tune in to what's around me, and he gave me a bit of information. And so I started doing it. And I said, are there spirits around me? And I tapped into my clairvoyance and tapped into my clairaudience, which is my hearing and my seeing, my third eye. And what do you think materialized? An angel. So I spoke to this angel. I got information from this angel, and it's very interesting. Now I know how to do it. He told me how. And this angel, from what I can remember today, first of all, the angel looked like a cloud was around it. It was puffy, and it had this, I mean, obviously it was telepathic. It had this very high-pitched voice, but what was interesting in the energy was very, very powerful and strong. So visually, I saw this very feminine, beautiful angel face, but then it was very powerful, and it told me that it was here and it was around me, and I believe it's one of my guardian angels. So you can tap into your own angels. You can maybe see a feather, and that's a representation, or a coin, or you can ask for angels to connect to you and give you a message. Maybe they brush across your face. There's 9 orders of angels: seraphim, cherubim, thrones, dominions, virtues, powers, principalities, archangels, and guardian angels. And basically, the closest to God, they say, is seraphim, and then the farthest closest to us are guardian angels and archangels. I'm going to say a few facts, and then I'm going to ask Michael what he has to say about angels. Now, when I did do some research way back when, they said 68% of Americans believe in angels. I don't know if that's still true. They are made of pure spirit and divine light. And I had some angel presence, which you'll see in my upcoming book, because I had angels come to me. There's believed to be legions of angels, in fact, tens of thousands, even more than 100 million, led by Archangel Michael. Okay, Mike, what do you have to say?
No, I think everyone should tune into the angel energy. There's angelic presence around us from birth. When we incarnate into this physical existence, like you had said, we all have a guardian angel, 1 or 2 guardian angels. I believe some of us have even more than that. And we can align with several different segments of angels. I don't just believe it's like the archangels, the guardian angels. I do think we can connect to many different sects of the angels. And, I've had my own experience. I don't talk about, being like an evidential medium and trying to bring through evidence and trying to bring through, facts and information. I don't know if I spend enough time talking about angels and talking about their presence and how they've positively affected me. But I can tell you there's been moments in my life, especially as a child, when I was navigating a lot of uncertainty, grief. Even like you, I also had a near-death experience at 8 years old. And in that experience, I felt the divine presence of my guardian angel. And it's interesting because it's almost like that stereotypical experience of I was engulfed in white and gold light, almost like I was engulfed in an orb. And I just heard, it's not your time. You'll be okay. And for those of you that don't know, what had happened with me, I was involved in gymnastics when I was a child, and I was in a competition. I was on the balance beam. And as I was coming off the balance beam doing a flip and I landed on the platform wasn't built correctly. And the platform snapped. I went back and I split my whole skull open, on the balance beam, and literally my head split. I felt just what people had described, what my mom had described it as, is because she was in the audience. It looked like someone dumped a can of tomato juice like over my head, and I just remember wiping my face and just having my hands covered in blood. And I remember my coach, she threw a blanket or a jacket over my head. And as she was throwing it over my head, not only did I black out, but I remember seeing her black out. And that's, I don't want to get really graphic with it, but literally my whole head split up and I started bleeding out. In that moment of, being rushed to the hospital, I truly felt the divine presence of my angelic guardians just cover me and surround me in that orb of golden white light. I woke up on the operating table to the surgeon screaming at me, "If you don't sit still, we're going to have to strap you down," and pushing me back down. And then I just blacked out. I don't remember anything after that, but many, many years later, I'm here. And I can tell you from the interesting thing was that experience happened to me after I already had mediumship and my psychic experiences, because those started around 3 or 4. This happened at 8, and this was the first time that I really felt a different type. I connected to spirit. I connected to loved ones that were that had left the physical realm and were in spirit. But this was the first time I felt the presence of an otherworldly entity kind of come in and grace me with their presence and surround me with that energy of love, energy of divine light. And it really shifted. And I think I would say that moment probably changed my life forever, of having that experience, because already knowing that there's more and then having that divine experience, I couldn't look at anything the same again, and it really shifted my life at that point. And the interesting thing, I think most people tend to go through life and we're so caught up, in the daily motions of going, have to get this done. We have our to-do lists and, our work and our family and, whatever that is that pulls us out of this divine spiritual connection we have. And if we'll just slow down and we can meditate, or, a lot, there are many people that have had these experiences where, some horrific thing is going to happen and the angel intercedes on their behalf and saves them. I have a close friend of mine that actually, when he was a child, he had shared this experience with me. He literally almost fell into a subway train or train tracks. Like literally it would have been, I think it might have been the New York subway. And he almost went into the tracks with the train coming in and there was no one behind him. And he literally felt something pull him back. And he's here today. And otherwise he, good chance he would have fell in front of, I believe it was a subway train, and been killed. So they're always around us. They're always connected to us. But I don't think people in general pay enough time. They don't put their awareness into that divine physical realm that's around us. We're so caught up in the physical to-dos of this human existence. We don't slow down enough. And that would be the first thing is, slow down and be present and be mindful of that other energy that's around.
Wow, I didn't know that. You talked about, you never told me that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. That happened to you. All right, so actually Bryan's in the waiting room. So I'm gonna just tell you who Bryan is because he's
And
here.
I'm sure we can ask him about. I'm
Oh,
sure
he's got a
we
lot
have
to
the right
tell us.
person on to talk about angels tonight.
You really do. So Bryan is a master tarot card reader, oracle deck creator. He's the host of the Angel channel. Very interesting. He's a brilliant artist. So I'm just going to read a little bio that he sent me. He's not just a master tarot card reader with 40 years of experience. He's a creator of an extraordinary tarot and oracle decks, an energy facilitator and passionate explorer of metaphysical traditions. His journey through Western, Afro-Cuban, Eastern shamanic philosophies has led him to develop distinctive cosmology, infusing his work with a rich tapestry of mystical wisdom. He's known for his gift of demystifying complex esoteric concepts, and Bryan is communicating profound ideas in everyday language. His patient and empathetic teaching approach ensures every student feels supported and understood on their unique path. So let's welcome him. He's our first tarot reader, and let's see, maybe he'll give us some readings tonight. We'll see what we got here. Here he comes. Hi. Hello. Hi. It's Mary and
Hello.
Michael.
How
Welcome.
are you, Bryan?
Thanks very much. I'm excellent. How about yourselves?
We're great. I'm from New York and Michael's from the Jersey Shore.
Excellent. I'm down in the middle of Florida in Sebring.
How cool is that?
Nice.
Thank you.
Not too cool today. It's burning up. It's about 1 billion degrees out there today. Yeah,
The air.
I'm waiting for December for those days where you go, oh yeah, I remember why I live here in the summer now.
Nice. So the air conditioning is getting its workout for sure, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
No, so it's a pleasure having you here. I have to say, Bryan, the one thing, as I was looking over some of your stuff and, we try to do a little research on our guests, the one thing that I was absolutely fascinated by, and, obviously our topic is angels, and we're going to get into a lot of talk on the angels and your specialty, but I want to ask you a little bit about the art you're doing and the artwork. I mean, it was amazing,
Thank you.
phenomenal artwork.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. I've been into light painting for about the last 10 years.
Mm.
And light painting is a technique where you've got a camera in a dark room with an open shutter. And I use a lot of tools like fiber optics brushes and tubes and
Mm.
flashlights. And I'm actually painting those images in the air.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
and the thing I love the most about it is that the pigment's not pigment, it's light. It's light energy,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've been on the path really seriously for about 50 years, and my art has always been super connected to where I was metaphysically at that time. And I love astral traveling. I've been doing that for decades now. And you get to go and see some of the most amazing places, and you meet these other entities, and you have all of these experiences, but they're really solitary experiences. You don't get to really share those um, really intensely with other people other than just speaking about it. And the light painting is really kind of like my way of bringing the energetic world and the astral back here. And
Mm.
it's just been a super satisfying technique, and kind of the culmination of photography and painting and
Yeah.
stuff I've done my whole life. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank
well, it's very unique, and honestly, like I felt very energetically connected to it. It resonated with me on a deep soul level, and I was like, this is fascinating, and I really couldn't wrap my head around how you were creating it. So that explains it, and it's very interesting because I never would have thought of that. I mean, it's really, really beautiful work. Anyone out there that's listening, you have to jump on. We're gonna share all Bryan's social media with you and his YouTube page, but you have to go check out his artwork. It's very unique, and it's unlike anything else out there. I mean, it really is fascinating stuff. Now, what I'm curious about also, did you start as like, were you an artist as a young child? Did you sketch and draw? Like
I
what was
started drawing with crayons on my
yeah, yeah.
wall next to my bed,
Okay.
and that has always been, I'm like such a totally visual person, and
Mm.
that's how I process the world.
Yeah.
So that's been a really great outlet and way to, method of self-expression over
Mm.
the course of my life. And again, as I got into studying, my way of processing stuff, was, I got started really a long time ago when there wasn't internet, when there wasn't really easy ways to connect with people. There were books
Yeah.
and a few groups here and there, right? So if you were really studying, you'd be getting out the books, the Manly Hall books, all of them,
Hmm.
and trying to really grok that and
Mm.
understand that on a deep level was difficult sometimes. And I found that drawing art and making images of that like crystallized that for me in
Mm.
a really profound way. So those two things have always been interlinked throughout the course of my life. Yeah. Music is a huge thing for me too.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Near and dear to my heart too. So
Yeah.
excellent. No, I was fascinated by that, and that's what my question was: is how did what was the segue from like traditional art, and did you kind of channel like what you should be doing, incorporating the photography and the lights, or like how did that come to you? What was that transition like?
Well, let me step back just for a second to the decks. I created an angel deck and a
Mm.
tarot deck.
Yeah.
And they all used incense smoke.
Oh wow.
And I
Okay.
would like charge up like with the tarot deck. I did the tarot first, and I would charge up I had this beautiful crystal copal incense that just took a charge like
Mm.
nothing. And I'd charge that up and light it up, and I would just jump into the smoke and be trying to materialize that image throughout the whole thing. And I'd just shoot until my solar plexus went, wow, you're done, or
Yeah.
I got exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would go back and look at the images, and usually the ones I thought were the images weren't. And they're
Mm.
like, oh my God, that is crazy. That's like that twisted into an actual image of a face and a person. And that just blew me away. So I stayed with that smoke technique for a long time and really
Mm.
explored it. And that grew into the angel deck, which was kind of a unique experience because I don't usually invoke spirits.
Mm.
I don't take them in. But with the angels, I used the system of the angels of Shemha from the Old Testament, and it's the 72 angels of the names of God.
Mm.
So that I channeled each one of those. I shot during the day, and I would shoot because I would shoot the smoke stuff out in the sun, so it was brightly lit with that energy.
Oh wow, cool.
And then that night I would go into trance and do automatic writing and bring the angel in and let them write it. And I did
Mm.
that for 72 nights in a row. So all the readings in that are all out of that. And then that just kind of naturally, I was like, I wanted to be able to show how they look to me. And that's how the light painting stuff evolved and continues to this day. And sadly, my son passed away a couple months ago, and
Mm. No,
we
sorry.
did a group. I do a show called the Angel Channel on Monday nights, and we did. I make that show a practice show. It's not really a talk show so much,
Mm.
and we all got together as a group and sent him off into the light. And I did a light painting of that, and it's just, it's so full of joy and explosion and celebration and like it's just a wonderful connection, and the people that have seen that image kind of feel that too.
Yeah.
I love it when art reaches out and touch artists. The thing about art, as opposed to like this whole AI craze of it, is that the process of actually making it and concentrating on it and using your physicality to bring this image in
Mhm.
is you're sharing your truth,
Yeah.
your deeper truth, and you put that in there, not trying to talk to anybody else or make anybody else think anything, although there are people that do that. But like when you look at a piece of artwork and it just, wow, it blows you away. Like the Dolly stuff in the Dolly Museum, the huge
Yeah.
paintings in the vat. Every time I stand in front of I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
There's just like, you can feel that and you can touch those brush strokes. And it's like, there's a truth to that you get to see inside another person's universe in a very deep way.
Yeah.
And
It's funny you mentioned Salvador Dali because when I was looking at your stuff, I almost felt like if he had still lived in this era, I wonder if he would be creating something like this. So I wonder if you're channeling some of Dali on a level.
well, you know who the very first person that did light painting is Pablo Picasso.
Oh, okay, okay.
And he did a flashlight like back in the 40s, like I
Wow.
think, yeah. And that image is very famous. It's around on the net if you ever want
Mm.
to check it out. But it's an art form that people don't really like. It's not all that common. So like light painting, and this is crazy. It's like it's sad and funny at the same time. The last few light paintings I've loaded up on my Facebook page, I got DMs from a couple people asking for the chat prompts to be able to create that image just like that. I'm like, oh man, bro, you just
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well, the one thing definitely with you creating it, like the energy I picked up on, there's definitely a more natural, like etheric energy that I don't think you would feel with the AI created stuff. And it's the same thing with music, you know, and stuff people are doing with AI music.
Oh man, yeah, bullet to the heart on that, man.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Like,
great. I
dude,
mean,
they're doing whole bands that don't even exist with AI generated images, and like the whole band is just a complete fabrication.
yeah, it's
Like, what's
unbelievable,
authentic anymore, you
but
know?
it doesn't have the soul. It doesn't have that soul energy, that soul essence that something like you're creating does.
It can't, you know,
Yeah,
it can't. When
yeah,
you're playing guitar and you're like, that guitar is now part of you and your
yeah,
energy is expressing through that. You can't cop that with AI.
yeah,
You really
exactly.
can't. You can make good music, you know, stuff that's
Mhm.
musically right, but
Yeah.
soul is just not there. So,
You may have some catchy hooks or something that the masses might appreciate on contemporary radio, but it's not
yeah,
coming
but
from
how
the
much good
soul,
music
you
is
know?
on contemporary radio at all anyway?
Yeah, exactly,
It's
exactly.
all samples and reshreds
Yeah,
anyway.
it is. It is. Yeah, there's a lot of it out there. And
And you know, I was sort of bemoaning that today. You know, I grew up in the time of Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, all when they were at their
where,
prime,
where singers could sing.
where singers could actually sing, where they sounded
Yeah,
better off the mic than they did on the
yeah.
mic. And now, man, you listen to the raw takes of some of these people that are out there now, and it's like, wow, you can't sing a note, man.
It's
And
raw.
yeah, and you know,
Pitch correct works magic.
yeah, yeah, right.
So,
Yeah, but it's just, you know, I guess every generation bemoans seeing their ideals and the things that mattered to them sort of go away. But
yeah.
I don't know, you know, it's just life.
I get a sense it's going to circle back because, first of all, I want to say, Bryan, that I'm in awe that you're allowing yourself to really show your human qualities where it's not about what's going on out here. You're really digging in, and it's brilliant because you're tapping into everything that's coming to you rather than compare it or analyze it. You're just doing it. And it's coming off beautiful. And it's interesting because when you were talking just now, I saw that you're this splatter of paint on a canvas. And you know how the splatter goes off like into different directions. See?
Yes.
And I said, oh my gosh, this man really, his dreams, I know something of, I just got to train this dream, these dreams that you have take you into other people's lives like you dream for them. And then I went, oh my God, he talked about astral dreaming. So what happens to you? Do you discover truths on the other side of the planet, like remote astral dream?
You can
What?
go anywhere in the, okay,
Tell us.
blank space.
Yeah.
Like when you meditate, and I call it blank space, other people have different names for it. But when you bring your mind down and you shut off your thoughts, you're not aware of your body, and you reach that point of absolute stillness, that is the point at the absolute center of the universe. And from there, you can go anywhere you want. And that point is the place where miracles absolutely happen. And that space, blank space, I'm realizing is in the whole quantum entanglement thing. It's the superposition quantum field where it's all potential. It's everything and nothing at the same moment, you
Mhm.
know. And from there you really can go anywhere. You just have to pick a frequency. Everything's energy.
Mhm.
And everything has a vibration and a frequency that can be read. And when you want to, you know, sometimes I'd like to just go explore and pick a random place and see what's there. And like the worlds and like the just the different levels of beings and like I'm totally addicted to that. I that's what I do for fun.
Well,
I mean,
I think
it's
we're
better
all
than
in that
any
same
movie
boat with
coming
you.
out, right?
You know what? It's kind of like you just said, Michael. We're all. I'm with you because I actually do this thing that I'll sit and I'll go into a meditative state and I'll take away my body every single line that's going on in the physical reality. So all it is just my spirit.
Your light body, yes,
Right.
exactly.
And I just see where it takes me and what it has to offer. And then I can actually create there too.
There you go.
Mhm.
You're the infinite creator in that universe. Let me grab something real quick. Hang on one second.
Mhm. Yeah, it's fascinating. So anyone out there listening, definitely check out. Can you share Bryan's website or his YouTube page with our audience so they know where to go to see the artwork? So we're just sharing your information right now, Bryan. So our
Ooh.
listeners know where to go to check out. But that's a beautiful piece too.
My YouTube channel is the Angel channel.
Okay.
And it's important to use or it'll take you to a bunch of billion other things, but the Angel channel, and that's my show every Monday night. And I really welcome people to come and play. And like I do really specific, like last night we've been, I've been dealing with this, like all the coronal mass ejections and all of that intense cosmic energy has really affected me like in a really profound way, physically and energetically. So I've been working on things to attenuate that. And last night's show was all about us actually doing that energy work to do that. So if anybody's, I try to make it a really good learning show and be a place where people can gain tools to put in their ergonomic tools that really work, and are the products, road tested products of 50 years of working towards that. The other place where you can check out is my website. It's wizardofodd.com. And I spell my wizard with a Y. So it's
Nice.
Y-A-R-D. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So let's rewind for a second. Show us that piece of art again. Let's
Oh
take a
yeah.
look at that.
Okay. You brought up the paint splash thing.
Yeah.
Right. I did a kind of self-portrait yeah,
Wow.
of my own aura field. And all the structures that go on in the body and stuff like that. It's the first time I've like pushed around any pigment in a long time. It was super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Very cool.
Can you do tarot reading? Would you do if we had a question? Do you
Oh,
do?
absolutely.
Oh, good.
Serve it up. Have deck will travel. I do live readings on my show every week. So yeah.
Yeah. Michael, do you want to start with a question? Do you have a question in mind, and and see what he comes up with, or do you want me to come up with a question?
No, I mean, if you want to even just give us a general read of what you're feeling in a sense of just the energetic, transition, I feel like that we're going through and a lot of people on the planet are going through. If you want to just do a feel for what you're getting in your deck for what we're all experiencing in this
Sure.
human zoo, like we call it, what are you getting? Or maybe Mary Amy has a specific question that you want answered, but
Either way you want to roll, the more, if it's specific, then the more specific the question is, the more specific I can be with
okay.
information.
Okay. I have
But the thing that you asked about already, I mean,
Okay.
I'm happy to do that as well, so we can see what we get.
Yeah, maybe do a general pull for humanity, see what's coming to you through the cards, and then Mary Amy's the wheels are turning. I see
I
them, so
already
she's
have a
she's got a question
question.
brewing.
All right. Do me a favor, really concentrate on that for me, okay? I'm going to reach out. All right. All right, I'm going to do a three-card pull here. I always like to look at the undercut card when you cut the cards. What's the card on the bottom of the part you cut? And it's the sun, which is about total success and and light spreading out to everywhere. This card also represents every single astrological sign. So it is just in every direction. Also, crazy enough as it is, the sun is going through a cycle of coronal mass ejections and solar flares that no one alive has ever lived through before, and it's a really crazy thing. It's causing a lot of geomagnetic shifts to be happening on the planet as well, and there are a lot of volcanic activity happening, and at the very core of the earth it's really super active in ways that the core of the earth has never been. Yeah. All right, so here, let me get to the actual reading. All right, so the first card is the Five of Swords. Second card is the Lovers. And the third card is the Three of Wands. So the Five of Swords is, first of all, it's an air card, so it's going to be about the mental things and things you're thinking. And this card is really about arguments and like picking at people, and it's kind of where things are right now, man. It's like I've never seen people more divided ever. You know, and you know, like I'm old now, and I've seen people in major I grew up through the 60s, you know. I've seen people really disagree, but somehow there was people were able to still kind of come together in a way that was courteous and respectful to each other and respected everybody else's beliefs, even if that was something totally different than what you believe. Okay, just live your life. Let me live mine. And that whole mindset seems to be gone. There's no tolerance for each other anymore. And that's what this card really, it's like people stewing about what's wrong, people being angry, and this is where like circle thinking happens in your head, you know, where you just start, like somebody says something or you hear something, man, you can't even turn on the news now on any channel and not just feel like crap afterwards, man. Like you just got a big garbage energy just dumped right on you. So I stay out of that, and I really try to stop with the circle thinking about what continue, like the same issue, the same issue, the same issue. Let it go, man. Step back and take a fresh look from your third band and your objective space where it's not emotions and the angry sea of your emotions all the time. And you just get to like, what makes sense? You know, it's always Occam's razor. The simplest solution is always the right one.
Yeah.
Always, you know, and like it just seems so complicated now. And that's kind of where it's at right now. But this is a really great card to follow that up with. This is the Lovers, and the Lovers represent two people. Like some people use this card a lot for an actual love relationship, but I think this card is more about relationships at large. And in this context, that's going to be about our relationships with other people around us and the world in general. And what's really cool about this card is that it's two sides, two people that are step back. Like if this was a business partnership, it's a time where the two partners step back and they kind of evaluate the relationship and go, this doesn't work for me anymore, and they move away, or wow, this is really cool, and they continue to go. But either way, there's like a meeting of the minds and an agreement, and like it's two sides coming together to fulfill kind of a singular mindset. And since this is all about relationships, you know, I think everybody taking a step back and just like offering out some good energy. You know, it's like so much energy is placed in everybody's ire and sending it out to other people and other things and companies and the government and like all this stuff. And it's all this anger and hate and that vibration that is getting sent out by so many people, man. They don't understand that the universe works on energy. Simple, really clear rules that never vary. And what you send out is what's going to reflect back to you. There's no other way for that to work. So if you're sending out hate and all the stuff you hate and don't like and can't stand that, then just more situations are going to roll right back on top of you that demonstrate that exact thing. Whereas if you go inside and you get centered inside and you find that place where you're happy, like you're not happy is not a reaction. Happy is a state of mind. And I use happy, but you could substitute peace or joy. It's just that centered, no matter what's going on out here, in here, I'm good. And when you're emanating that energy, the people around you feel it, the people that come in contact with you feel it. And I think that's the best way in the world to make change, is by your own actions and your own energy and exuding this, like, wow, this thing that people want, instead of being repelled and feeling like, oh man, it's going to be a war. And when we come to that mode where everybody kind of like comes together a little bit more, the three of wands represents like a really nice success is on the way. and it in one of the decks, there's a guy standing up on a cliff overlooking a bay, or a dock, a bay, and all these ships are coming in. They're not docked yet, but they're coming in, and it's like, yeah, man, finally some relief. The supplies have arrived, the goodness has arrived, and the plans that have been been in the works are starting to come to fruition, and that's really not in doubt anymore. So, the world goes through crazy changes. I've seen like a whole bunch of waves, where it just really changes in really drastic ways. And I think with AI and the technological stuff that's coming up now, life's going to change in a lot of ways that we have no idea how that actually is going to play out. And I think we just, I think the kinder we are to each other, doesn't mean we have to agree with each other, but the kinder we are to each other and the more of that energy that gets spilled out, the more real connection will happen. And that's the thing that scares me most about this sort of future stuff. With, like, we're getting, there's AI agents and clones that are like real people, and people are having relationships with those to the exclusion of having an actual human connection. And that part, I think, is really, really scary. So I think that if we just keep staying connected and trying to stay authentic within ourselves, and that projects to everyone else, then, whatever happens will be good, and the world has a funny way of always kind of seeming to land on its feet one way or the other. May be brutal for a while, but everything always seems to work out. So there you go.
Love it. And what I sense is that the divide is actually going to change. It's seeming like opinions and this is how I'm going to do it. That's the divide, or that's what I believe people are saying, is that it's more about, well, I believe in this and I believe in that. And the divide is going to change. It's going to be the purists, the authentic, the natural, the organic beings. And then it's going to be the people that are interested in the AI, the technology, and this alternate artificial world, because less people are caring what others say because they've distanced themselves through the technology. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah. So you're not having to actually be cordial or be polite or be human, because you're not really involved with that person, but you're having some kind of communication with them. So people are going to have to wise up, or they're not going to be human. They're going to take on something else, and they're going to have a chip in them, something along those lines.
That chip thing just gives me nightmares.
And you know what? It's so funny because someone I know very close to me out of nowhere said that to me. And I said, wait, excuse me? Would you do that? And I was taken back. And I can't speak for anyone else. I have to go on my path and my journey. And where I'm going is very filled with light and beauty. And it's not about sitting somewhere on looking at a phone all day or being in technology. It's creating and then sharing that with the world. And that will change things, and that will bring us to a new civilization. That's my interpretation. Okay, my question.
Okay.
Ready? So here's my question. Okay, now we don't know if everyone's going to be on the side of understanding what I'm about to say, but for those who do and maybe know who I am, I'm going to tell you, I started getting extraterrestrials contacting me in 2021. It went on for a period of time, and it stopped for the last year. And I've been writing this book, and it's about angel connection, contact, and extraterrestrial, and it's going to have illustrations and blah, blah, blah. Well, strangely enough, Friday night, they were back. So when I say this, I'm saying that it's not just a generic looking. It literally, they all have a different, they're a certain species, but you can tell they're not the same. They're not a clone of each other. So these 4 gray aliens came to me. This is related to my question. I'm giving a long story around it. And what I saw was, so I laid down on my bed to go to sleep. I just laid down and I laid back and I started to close my eyes, and I felt a zap of energy go through me because it was raising my vibration high enough so that they could come through. These fellas came through, and it was like they stepped into the light. There were sparks of light around them, and there was 4 of them, and they were just making themselves known. And I think they were telling me, we're here. So my question is, and you might not know where I'm taking this, is extraterrestrial contact coming in 2025? And is it going to come through? This is the second part. You can answer either of them. Is it 3I Atlas, this possible comet / mothership?
Okay. We're already in contact.
I'm well aware we're in contact, but I'm saying for all the physical reality to be like, okay. I mean, yes, I know, I'm well aware.
I mean, you look at how they're programming, like all the programs, like they're like getting everybody up to speed for it. But it's already so way happened. Anyway, let me go ahead and answer your question.
They are getting everyone up to speed.
I'm gonna focus on the 3I part of
Okay, whatever you think. You're the master.
it.
You are.
Um, well, first of all, I got a big blast before I even pulled any cards. It's going to happen, but not like in 2025. Probably be early 2026.
Mm-hmm.
But everything is building up to that, and they're getting all their media stuff going and all of that. All right, so in specific with the 3I thing. I pulled the 10 of Wands, which is oppression, the 8 of Pentacles, which is the apprentice and learning a new skill card, and the last one is the 9 of Cups, which is just on the edge of creative satisfaction or emotional satisfaction. So I think the way to interpret this is, first of all, that 3I thing is in fact a visitor from outer space, but it's not a spaceship. They're not people on it. It's some of the first objects that have really come from interstellar space, from a place that they can't even measure where that actually came from. And that object is crazy intriguing. Like, why is it here? Why is it shaped like that? But I've gotten into that really intensely, and it just, like I never get a feeling from that. Like there's actual uh, aliens in that ship, or that it's some kind of messenger ship, or it's here to scope us. I just get the feeling like it may have been bumped here on purpose, but it's just kind of like, hey, there's more out there, man. You better scope this out, right? And we're gonna be the this is the Eight of Pentacles, which is uh, the apprentice card, and it's kind of like after you've learned a craft, and like it's sort of outmoded now, you like take on a new skill, and get taken under wing by a really intense master, and they really show you the ropes. And I think that this we are going to learn some stuff from these things that no one has any kind of anticipation about. I think there's materials in it, and I think that there's a magnetic scope about it that is about to be revealed, and um, will just absolutely spur more questions than provide answers. But it's an infinitely interesting zone, and I think the whole alien scenario is going to become, I look back on all of the science fiction movies, and stuff I watched as a kid, and Men in Black. Men in Black is so accurate. There are as many different aliens and as many different spiritual, energetic entities as there are stars in the sky. It just depends on what frequency you're at to like scope. And I think when all of that comes out and everybody can just like, yeah, have an alien over for dinner. It'll be really kind of joyous, because look how long we've been getting set up for this, man. They've been working us really hard since the 40s, and getting us ready for that, and letting little pieces. And when you look back on the totality of what has been released about UFOs, it's such a carefully sculpted manipulation of information and what they've let people know. And luckily, you've got several different species that are here and actively involved in it, and they're kind of like, just like we have our push and pull, culturally and socially. That's kind of going on in that realm as well. And everybody's just kind of pushing for stuff, which I think leads to a kind of general feeling right now. People are a little confused, and it feels like what was solid isn't anymore. But when the really truth of it comes out, and they're actually here, that'll be in a very emotionally good time. I don't think that's going to be a bad time for humanity at all. In fact, I think we're way overdue for just go ahead and say it already, for God's sakes. So did that answer your question?
It did, and I really appreciate that answer. You're really very excellent at this tarot reading.
40 years, my darling. And designing my own deck. That was the most amazing journey. Like, my teacher tried to goad me into doing a tarot deck for the longest time. And I'm like, dude, that's like 78 pieces of art, not to mention all the stuff on the card. He's going, yeah, 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 yeah. Well, how about this? Why don't you just do one card? Why don't you do the magician? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. So I wound up like shooting that, loving that, and that blew up into a whole deck that just became this really deep spiritual journey. Not many people know this, or about the tarot, but the first 22 cards, which are the major arcana cards, aren't just random cards. Each one of those cards is like, you start off as the fool, then you meet the magician, you get those skills, and each one of them is a lesson all the way through, down to the last card, is the universe. Now here you are, like molded and sculpted and changed by fire, and like on with your skills fully manifested and your big self, and you're ready to go take on the world. And that's called the fool's journey. And like if you're interested in tarot, that's a really wonderful wonderful little initiation to go to. What you don't realize is, oh yeah, I'm at the end, it's ready to yeah, I'm ready. And then you realize, no, you're right back at the beginning on a new level.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm
So,
sorry.
so much
Get me
more than
going
meets
about
the eye
that.
to it. So to kind of pull us back to the topic of the show of angels. We've
Yes.
talked about a lot of cool stuff. Now, what is your experience and what was your opening and connection to the angels, and how did you kind of go onto that path?
Well, I got my first set of crystal balls about 30 years ago. And the person that I got those from was very much into angelic music and or angelic magic. And that she gave me a couple of ways to use those that I could start getting in touch with my own angels. I grew up a Catholic kid.
Yeah.
Like I've always been connected to that world,
Yeah.
and my
So
guardian
did I. So did I. So
you
yeah,
know,
I
yeah,
know
you
exactly
you
what you're
know what I
talking
mean
about. Yeah,
then, you
yeah.
know. And
Hmm.
and once you really kind of, especially when you're young like that and you're in tune with that world, that really never leaves you. I never allowed that to be uh programmed out of me. I've always just fostered that.
Well,
So
that's interesting. So, from a very young age, you are exposed to, hey, there's a divine realm around us. There's angels. There's other things that we might not be able to perceive with our physical senses, but they're there. Was your family structure very religious, or what was kind of your upbringing?
my mom was a really staunch Catholic, and that's
Okay.
how we grew up. And I went to Catholic school and did the altar boy thing,
Mm,
and that whole nine yards. And you know, when I was very young, like 5 or 6, I had scarlet fever, had a very high fever.
mm,
And during that time, I remember just looking at my closet door, my wood closet door, and all I like actually saw angels, like just etheric, not like they're standing there, but I actually
mm.
saw those. And, like everybody told me I was just crazy and sick and had a really high fever. But ever since that time, seeing them has been really easy. I mean, they're like there with me.
Yeah.
And I think once you find that frequency and that connection of that, it's
Mhm.
like, it's easy to go back again and again. And the more you use it, the more open that connection gets.
Yeah, and it's funny. That's something Mary and I were speaking about earlier on the show before you came on. It's a lot of people are just so caught up in the daily rigmarole of life, they don't slow down and they don't connect to that frequency and they don't open to it. Now, curious with you and your channel and everything you're doing around the angels, can you talk a little bit about, to anyone watching, what would be the best way for them to kind of open and start tuning into that angelic realm?
Oh, first of all, to remember that you're not a physical body. You're an actual piece of the source.
Mm,
You're a piece of light that's connected to the source. And all of the angels that I worked with, they're about like being around and helping and doing, you can ask them stuff, but their main thing is revealing that their connection and their love to the source and what that actually means.
mm,
And I think when you're really open to that, like you get that. And that's truth. Like in a world there's no truth,
mhm.
that's truth that
Yeah.
never wavers ever. And I say this a lot on the show because a lot of people that do decks and stuff, they make them kind of like affirmations, and all of them are all happy and like, but the angels in my deck they're sometimes warm and fuzzy, but they always tell you the truth.
Mm,
And it's like the dark side will tell you anything you want to hear. The angels will tell you exactly how it is and help you get there.
yeah.
And understanding that that energy is around you all the time already, to just get down to silence, to be very still and just to send that energy out that I want to know you, I want to connect, and then listen.
Yeah, no, I want to reiterate that because I think that's fantastic. What you just said is that that dark energy will tell you anything you want to hear, but
Anything
the
you want to hear.
angelic realm, the angels will reveal the truth. They will speak the truth. No, that's beautifully
Even
said.
if
And I
it's hard,
think
and
something that
and
can
sometimes
really
that's what you
resonate.
need. You
Yeah,
don't need somebody patting you on the back, telling you
yeah, yeah.
everything's okay. What's kind of crazy about the readings that the automatic writing readings, which as much as I like to just go for it, with all my other decks, I read the angel deck readings word for word every time
Mm,
because they set up like the first paragraph every time, like defines where your emotional space is at the moment, good, bad, or indifferent. And then the next paragraph always is giving you some kind of tangible, okay, now here's what you do. And if you're in a bad zone, here's some suggestions on how to like change that energy. And if you focus on that, it works so
yeah.
hard, man. It really, really works. They're there for your evolution, not your demise,
Mhm.
and that is something to always remember. And when you're connecting to angels, you're connecting to the source. That's something to remember as well. They're not there to be worshipped. They're there to help you evolve your connection to the absolute truth.
Mm.
Hmm.
I know I know the wheels are turning again, Mary. I know you got some questions, so I'm gonna hand it over to you.
You tell us, can you tell us from the beginning? And Michael usually asks a question similar to this, but I'm going to word it a little differently. Back before you got into all of this, or maybe you always were, did you have a period of time where you were in a place of just, you were a normal guy, you're going to do what everyone else does? When did you branch off, or did you always branch
Oh,
off
this is a great story. This is a great
creative
story.
side?
I
Tell us.
was in my 20s, and I was a creative director in an advertising agency. This is back in the 80s, and the guy that owned the agency, man, he was always really great about bringing in inspirational people. One day he calls a creative meeting, and this woman walks in and he introduces her as Reverend so and so. And I was kind of incensed. I'm here making stuff, man. I don't need a religion thing in the middle of my workday. What are you doing? But she started talking, and it wasn't about religion at all. It was about energy, and like started talking about being able to move things with your energy and to affect wind and weather and all kinds of stuff. And I was just like so intrigued. And I'm sitting like three or four chairs down the conference room table, and there was a little metal ashtray sitting in front of the desk, and she was just looking at me, and I was asking questions. So the thing wraps up, and right at the end of it, she says, "Here, check this out." And she reaches out with her energy and grabs that damn ashtray and drags it over to herself. And right then, my notion of impossibility was obliterated. And I like, man, that was like a nuclear explosion in my soul. Like, I gotta have this. I've got to have this. And that's when I was already into crystals, and I had been into numerology and a bunch of different stuff. And that kind of set me on a quest to find the teacher I have now, actually, which took a long time. But what a great moment of explosion. And ever since then, I've studied. I've been an initiated African witch doctor, a Babala in Ifa, and I've done the whole like Golden Dawn, Western magic. Like I've sampled lots of stuff in a pretty deep way, and the whole part with the telekinetic stuff and that physical energy stuff is that it changes you. It changes you physically, it changes you mentally. You can heal yourself. I'm 174. Just kidding. and that growing of your life and realizing what your potential is. Like your whole light body, like that's half of who you actually are. And what's happening in your reality all started in your energy body. And understanding how all of that works together, it's just a glorious journey. It's one that, like, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, man, like something I can just be passionate about until I close my eyes for good and then start over again next time. Yeah.
Was it great advertising? Was it Ericsson? Which one? Can you tell us which one it was? Because I
I was working at that time. It was an agency in Atlanta called
oh,
Babbitt and Ryman, and they wound up selling to Omnicom, and then they've sold to somebody else since then. Now that's a crazy world. I left working in an ad agency and went to directing commercials full time, and that was really fun for a long time. And yeah. But all of that's gone away. That's a non-existent world anymore. Or it may exist, but it doesn't exist in any way, shape, or form like it was for me back then.
Your soul has it's unfolded to bring you on the path you needed to be on.
Exactly.
But you had all those
Exactly.
experiences that shaped this journey. It's very cool. That's a very cool story. I'm fascinated by it, and obviously the art you're creating, it speaks volumes about your journey and what you're doing, and I think that's part of why you're here, and you're supposed to share that beautiful expression with other humans, and it really is. It's really phenomenal stuff. It really touched me when I was looking at it, and
Thanks.
I was really pulled into it, and the energy connected to it is fantastic. So
That's
Bryan,
food to
if you
hear
can
back.
share again with our listeners, if they want to reach out and connect to you or what you're doing, or listen to your podcast and listen to you speaking about angels and all the topics that you cover, can you share all your contact information?
Sure. It's the Angel Channel on YouTube, and it's every Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And then my website is wizard with a Y of odd.com. And if you're interested in checking out the light paintings, I've got a Facebook page called Bryan Lahr, and it's Bryan with a Y. That's why I did the wizard like that.
Yeah.
Bryan Lahr Light Painting on Facebook. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, do you put pieces up for sale frequently, or what's the situation with the artwork?
I was with this company called Fine Art America, and that just recently kind of like went away. So I don't really have my light paintings up for sale anywhere right now, but I'm happy to, like, if somebody sees something that they like, I'm happy to fix that up for anybody that wants to do it. And I've got a number of my 10th anniversary tarot decks. I did a gem and like gold encrusted little bad boy. So there's still some of those happening as well.
Very cool. Yeah, that's some amazing artwork, and you've created some fantastic products with. I believe you're channeling all that and then creating some beautiful stuff with that channeling. Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you very much. It's a treat to have it reach out and touch somebody, man. It's always a really satisfying feeling. So thank you very much.
You're
we're going to
welcome.
be doing live in a few within the next 2 weeks, and I'm hoping before the end of the year you can come back on to Psychics and join us again, and we'll be live on the different channels, and we can have you do a reading if you choose. I hope you can come back. We also will have people in the chat, and it might be something fun if you want to come back.
Always, man. That was a real treat to meet both of you and share space with you. And I'm happy to talk about my passion anytime you want. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's always an interesting topic of conversation when we could talk to like-minded individuals and that share that same creative expression and that divine connection. So I really appreciate what you're doing. I'm fascinated by your artwork. I'm going to definitely jump on and take a look at more of it. And Yeah, I absolutely think you're going to be coming back on with us. You know, I'm prophetically going to say we're going to have you back on before the end of the year.
Go ahead and stick it out there, man. Make the bold thing. He'll be back on.
No, it's good, and I'd love to have you back on when we can all kind of zone in and do some on air readings, and have hopefully several hundred people, several thousand people tuning in at that moment and hearing it in the moment and kind of experiencing that energy with us. I think it'll be a beautiful thing.
I think that's always a fun time for sure.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Bryan.
You guys are very welcome. Thank you for asking me to be on, and I'll look forward. You want me to keep sending you show stuff?
Yes, sure.
Right.
I love it. I love it. And I love your art. I'm so intrigued. I love it. It's beautiful. And
Thanks.
you have this heart that is, you're so open, and everybody can receive that. So when you do something here for us, we're gathering it, and then when you do something live like you do, it spreads across the country or the globe, which is even better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it absolutely does. Yeah, and anyone listening that wants to connect with Bryan Lahr, what he's doing, see his artwork, and kind of travel along that journey with him, we will put all your contact information in the Two Psychics podcast info below. So when you're watching this, just scroll down. You'll be able to connect with Bryan and see
Awesome.
what he's doing.
That's great, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All
Really
right.
appreciate it.
My
Until next
pleasure.
time.
I'll
Yeah.
talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Okay, be well.
Absolutely.
Bye. Wow, that was really great. I love that. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
went by so fast.
I felt like his card readings were very tuned in. I felt like his energy was definitely capturing. When we asked him about the human condition, what's unfolding here on Earth, what's going on this planet, what's happening, in this human existence. I thought he captured the energy very, very well and had very good explanations to go along with the cards. In addition to amazing stuff, like the artwork on those cards was fantastic. In addition to the stuff he's doing and his autograph that he pulled out. So, it's interesting when we can tap into that divine connection and we can utilize it for good and we can share that with people. It's like what you do with your artwork, what you're doing with your book, what I'm doing with my music. And I think when we can get past the ego or the self-limiting beliefs that, oh, it's not good enough, I need it perfected. And I talk to this so many times in readings with a lot of my clients that I can sense there's so much in there, so much creativity and so much beautiful work that can be released and help so many people. But so many of us are concerned about the fear of failure. What are other people going to think? Is it perfect yet? Have I mastered it? And the one thing I'll share with anyone is I don't think we can fully embrace our art and our creativity until we release it. So if we're holding it in and we're not sharing it, not only are we doing ourselves a disservice, but we're doing a disservice to all those that could be touched and affected by that positive energy, that positive creative vibe that we can put out there into the world.
I feel so good. I'm so lucky. I feel so lucky right now, and just I can't even express the joy about just being able to do this and be here and just be myself and not worry about what people are thinking and just do my thing. I just feel very, very grateful.
Locked up. It's a little bit.
You hear me, Rob?
It's the Two Psychics energy and messing with electronics.
Well, we're going to be back again tomorrow night. So we're going to see you guys tomorrow night. We have a guest coming live from Ireland. So I hope you join us. And it's all the episodes are flipping back and forth. This is episode 52. It's August 12th. Yeah. And tomorrow night's episode 61. So there you go. So we're going back in time. 61. But we'll be back tomorrow night with Soma Era. And she's a Palladian channel and Akashic Records reader. So it's going to be exciting. That's going to be tomorrow night. You'll catch that. And this will be a beautiful week for everyone. And I'm wishing everyone well and have a wonderful day.
So just know if you were looking for a specific episode and our schedule got messed up, we don't forget about episodes. They just may come a little bit later or a little mixed up, but we will definitely bring you that guest and we will definitely bring you that episode. So it's going to be interesting. And having our guest from Ireland, we're sharing some intercontinental energy tomorrow. So I can't wait. It's going to be exciting.
That's right. So she went off for 3 weeks, so that's why we had to delay it. But here we are, and she's lovely, and I can't wait to hear that accent because I am Irish myself.
Awesome. So everyone out there, thanks again. We want to thank Bryan Lahr for sharing his, his gifts with us. And until the next show, we'll see you very soon.
Happy days. Bye-bye.
Peace out.